So, without me further waffling on, I'm going to hand over to Emma. I'm just going to check. Emma, are you there? Emma, can you hear me?
Hi, Matt. Yeah, I can hear you now loud and clear.
Fantastic. Could you just check that you can move the slide forward and back?
Yeah, I sure can. I'm pretty sure. Yes, I
Ah,
can.
that's brilliant. Fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
well, everyone, I'm going to now hand over to Emma for the evening. So, I hope you really enjoy Emma's excellent webinar. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Matt.
There
That's
you go,
great.
Emma.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Really excited to be sharing this information with you this evening. I'm glad you can all hear me. Hi, Laura. And you can obviously all see the screen. Just confirm that for me if you can see the slides on there. That would be excellent. If you do have trouble hearing or seeing anything as we go through, just put a little message in the chat box, and I hope Matt will be keeping an eye on that on and off throughout the next 45 to 50 minutes or so. I'm hoping to really fly through this information, but you know me, I can waffle a little bit because I just love talking about this stuff and can go on forever. So there's a lot to get through, so I will try and condense it. What I've kind of done with this presentation, because I know there's been a lot of training on the V3 system recently. Sue did an amazing kind of short video for us a few weeks back. We've had a lot of training on the L-Arginine product. But what I've done really is just to kind of give you an overview of the V3 system from my perspective and how I really believe this applies to not just circulatory health and heart health, but obviously to the whole body as well. So all of the systems. Of course, because it's so good at helping with the cardiovascular system, we'll be talking about that in quite a bit of detail towards the end of the presentation. But I'm just hopefully going to give you a bit of a different angle, I guess. So you can look at the three products as really synergistic, which is obviously in the brand name, and how they can really tackle all areas of the body. So without further ado, let's crack on. So we are going to chat through the V3 system products and kind of emphasize they're not just for circulatory health. We're going to go through whole body health, focusing on antioxidants in particular. We will talk a bit about the nitric oxide, the amazing miracle molecule that is. Then we'll do a little bit of a summary and, of course, open the floor to questions. Hopefully we will have some time there at the end. And if not, if we do run over, then of course you can always put questions in the Facebook group and we can all have a go at answering those. So let's crack on. So the V3 system, for those of you who are new to any of the training webinars, to the product, to the business, a big warm welcome. You will soon learn, if you haven't already, these three products really are the core of helping people on a daily basis with their various nutritional needs. So we will be talking about the PhytoLife, we will be talking about Mystify, and of course we'll be talking about the L-Arginine Plus, and how they do relate to many systems in the body. I haven't had time to go through every single system in great detail, but you will see as we go through that there's a lot of flow over and crossover. And as I say, if you have any questions on how it all ties together at the end, please let me know. So, the body is a very complex system. It's very dynamic, but it's very magnificent. And we know that it is broken down into a few different key systems, but of course it is just one main system at the end of the day. But the scientists and the researchers, the developers of the synergy products at the Hughes Center for Research, they really understand these systems, not only how they work in their separate entities, but also how they work together. And it's not our job as distributors to understand the intricacies of this. I think we just have to really trust and put faith in the brilliant minds and expertise behind the products, and just know that they really do work synergistically. As I say, today I'm going to share with you from my perspective how they work and some of the key kind of points, but just trust that every single cell in the body is benefiting from all three of these products at any one time. Now, we're really kind of emphasized in Synergy the heart health aspect of the products, as in the circulatory system. But I have to really emphasize that it's not just about that. So if we're looking at whole body health, I really want to just kind of bring you to one word. I have one word for you, and I don't know if any of you guys can guess what that is, possibly not, but the word that we're going to be talking about for the next few minutes is telomeres. Now just put a little note in the box to let me know if anyone's familiar with what a telomere is, or before obviously you see the slide. So just a yes or no, just so I know how many people have kind of on this kind of level of knowledge. Okay, getting a lot of no's. Okay, cool. Excuse me, I just delay it. It's getting very warm in here. Okay, we've got a few people yes, a few people no. Okay, so basically, in a nutshell, if you want to extend your lifespan, if you want to live as long as possible, what we really need to do is extend the lifespan of our telomeres. Now, our telomeres are basically an essential part of every human cell that affects how our cells age. So every single strand of DNA, every single chromosome has a little cap on the end of it, and it's called a telomere. So you can think of these caps as, you know, like the end of a shoelace has a little plastic bit at the end, and that stops the shoelace from fraying. Okay, or a piece of rope will have a knot in the end, something like that. And it's so that the long stringy bit doesn't fray and then dismantle and obviously becomes useless. And it's the same kind of thing with our DNA, with our chromosomes. Okay, so basically if our chromosomes are going to last and do the job that they're meant to do optimally, they need to be protected, and that's what the telomeres do. So our telomeres can obviously be susceptible to damage and destruction. So our obviously we have what we call free radical damage that occurs in the body, where I'm sure we're all quite aware of what this is. Free radical damage not only destroys our cellular tissue and other aspects, but one thing it does, and this is obviously what contributes mostly to disease, destruction and cell death, is the fact that they're destroying our telomeres. So the length of the telomeres, as they get shorter and shorter and shorter through free radical damage, they're obviously, once they're completely gone, that cell then basically dies off. So when we're looking at free radicals, we've got to understand that these are basically oxygen molecules that have gone a little bit crazy. Okay, and free radicals will affect every cell and every organ and every tissue in the body, and that's for all of us. Now, free radical damage is something that occurs just naturally with aging, and obviously if we all kept our telomere length for infinity, no one would ever age or die. So obviously it has to happen at some point. But if we want to live really healthy and really well for a longer period of time, the whole aim of the game, I guess, is to keep our telomere length really long, or as long as possible. So what we understand about free radicals, about these unstable oxygen molecules, is that they can only be stopped by antioxidants. There's nothing else that can do the job of neutralizing these free radicals except for antioxidants. So hopefully you're kind of already getting that picture that if we want to protect our DNA, protect our cells, and protect our telomere length, we have to have lots of good antioxidant activity in the body. So it's not only about eating antioxidants, it's about making sure that all the systems in our body are healthy so that we can naturally produce our own antioxidants as well. So everything has to work in harmony. Okay? Everyone following so far, just give me a yes or a whoop whoop or something, just so I know you're still there. Perfect. Okay. Excellent. You guys are really active tonight. Cool. So let's just quickly, again, for those of you who are new, maybe a bit new to the nutritional information here, I'm just going to explain a bit more about free radicals, because they are absolutely key to understanding how the V3 system is just so beneficial for the entire body. So we've got free radicals, which are unstable oxygen molecules. These are dangerous because the actual molecule structure has an imbalance within it. So typically the structure is missing one electron. Okay, a free radical is a molecule that's missing one electron, and this causes that molecule to go rogue, if you like, goes a little bit off piece, a little bit crazy, a little bit outlawy. Okay, and this then these molecules cause damage to our cell membranes, to our tissues, and of course, as we now know, to our DNA. Now, our heart and our vascular tissues are very susceptible to free radical damage, as is our brain tissue and obviously lots of tissues in the body. But when it comes to circulatory health, generally it's the free radical damage activity that is most threatening to our heart. Okay, it's not necessarily our poor diets that contributes, but it's this free radical activity. Okay, so oxygen, we know, is very essential to life, but it can certainly have detrimental effects on the body. We can get immune issues, inflammation, pain, and of course premature cell death if we don't have those oxygen molecules under control. And these are just byproducts of metabolism, but they can also be pollutants, toxins, various other things coming into the body, UV light, cigarette smoke, etc. Okay, so lots of antioxidants to keep on top of daily stresses and daily pollutants. So our antioxidants, I've already explained, they come in, they do the job of neutralizing these rogue molecules, these free radicals. So typically vitamins A, C, and E, and many of the B vitamins act as antioxidants. Many of our minerals and enzymes, such as zinc, magnesium, selenium, coenzyme Q10, all very powerful antioxidants. And then, of course, we have the antioxidants that we're all probably very familiar with, which are, of course, our polyphenols, or our plant nutrients, our phytonutrients coming from plant-based foods. These are different chlorophylls. We'll be talking about chlorophyll later on. And, of course, our flavonoids, various other antioxidants as well, such as xanthones, and many other powerful phytonutrients. So what an antioxidant does, it basically scavenges around for these free radicals. It loves scavenging, okay? These antioxidants, that's what gets them up in the morning, is they go out on basically a free radical rampage. And how they neutralize the free radicals is they basically donate one of their own electrons to the crazy molecule, and that just kind of settles it down, neutralizes it, and switches off its crazy behavior. Okay, so again, we know that free radicals can interfere with many different tissue and organ health, and a lot are very, very targeted at heart and vascular tissue. Okay, thank you, Christine. I've explained it a lot over the years, so I'm getting better at it each time. Okay, so we have the Mystify product. It's one of the first ones I'm going to talk about as part of the V3 system. Normally we talk about ProAlgae first, but I'm going to talk about these in this order because this is how I see the V3 system working. So Mystify, for those of you who are new to all of this, is basically full of antioxidants, okay, full of the red and blue and purple fruits and green tea that have really high levels of these polyphenols, these fruit-based, plant-based antioxidants. Things like resveratrol, various tannins, various catechins. You don't need to remember or know any of these names, but just to give you a little bit of a background, just to name a few of the highly potent antioxidants that are in this product. Now, a lot of research now is pointing to the fact that these polyphenols are very I have to say this off the record because we can't make claims, but are anti-cancer. Okay, so they can really interfere with some of the mechanisms within the body that lead to cancer growth, tumor growth. The main fruit, or the main berry within the Mystify product is this acai berry. And of course that makes up just over half of the Mystify product, and that is incredibly high in, as I say, the resveratrol, various other antioxidants, which are cardioprotective, which help to boost our vascular system health. But they're also high in omegas, such as 6 and 9. Acai berries also naturally contain plant sterols, which are kind of like a natural statin, if you like, so controlling cholesterol levels. And of course, really high in B vitamins and vitamin K, which plays a really important role in blood health. So you can actually get a huge amount of antioxidant hit just by taking 30 mils of Mystify a day. So approximately, to get that in fruit, and the kind of equivalent of eating fruit, you'd have to eat about 3.5 kilograms of these high antioxidant berry fruits to get that same kind of hit. So it's much more cost effective, much more practical, and easy for most people to just take a 30 ml shot of Mystify or a couple a day. So that is our really, really powerful antioxidant product. Let's just have a little look at how antioxidants can impact positively on the immune system. Because so obviously we are looking at various systems within the body. So we've just seen how antioxidants can stop free radical damage that destroys our DNA and other cells in the body, parts of our cells and tissues in the body. Now we're going to look at how these antioxidants are very powerful for immune health. Okay, now our immune system is so important. If you have issues with your immune system, you can be looking at things like autoimmunity, again, at being more susceptible to chronic diseases, things like cancer and diabetes. So to keep a really strong immune system is absolutely crucial to longevity. Again, we've got vitamins A, C, and E, and many B vitamins, which are in themselves antioxidants. But what we know historically with these vitamins is that they're also very good for the immune system. Funny that, and it's because of their antioxidant properties. Again, the minerals that we've just talked about, zinc, magnesium, selenium, CoQ10, very high antioxidants, very, very important for immune health. What we know about these antioxidants is they can actually boost our white blood cell activity. So you can get our white blood cells working a lot more efficiently, a lot more effectively if they're a bit sluggish. Particularly vitamin A is a precursor to white blood cell formation. But also what's really important, it's not just about having lots of immune activity, it's about having controlled immune activity. So if we understand the body, everything has to be in balance, kind of this level of homeostasis. It's the same with the immune system. If our immune system is overactive, then we can be looking at things like chronic inflammation, we can be looking at autoimmunity. And that's not healthy at all. So the antioxidants can kind of help keep this balance, can kind of keep our cells, our immune cells signaling to each other and knowing when to switch off and knowing when to kind of step back from attacking tissue that's our own tissue, our own self. So this kind of autoimmunity is when our cells, our immune cells, start attacking our own tissue, which is, of course, not a very nice thing to experience. So the antioxidants kind of come in and they help create this kind of level playing field, and they keep the kind of optimal cell signaling, so every cell knows where it stands and how to behave. The other thing that, the other way that antioxidants kind of help with immune and inflammation control is that basically two of the main inflammatory enzymes within the body, cyclooxygenase and lipoxygenase, these are two enzymes which produce inflammatory chemicals. And when these inflammatory chemicals are created in the body, this is when we can get things like chronic joint pain and swelling for no real apparent reason. And quite often, these issues can come up because of poor diet, etc. But we know that they can be controlled through antioxidant activity. Of course, because they're obviously neutralizing the free radical craziness that's going on in these enzymes in those cells. Okay, so that's the immune system. Right, let's move on to chlorophyll, which is, of course, another amazing antioxidant. So we're now moving away from our red berries and those kind of antioxidants coming from the red, purple, and blue fruits. We're now looking at the antioxidants coming through from our greens. One of the main antioxidants in our greens is obviously our chlorophyll. So obviously chlorophyll, for those of you that don't know, are the green pigments in all plants, all green vegetables, anything green that grows in nature basically has a lot of chlorophyll in it. Now we know that our human bodies, we need lots and lots of greens, but unfortunately most people simply do not eat enough of them, therefore they're not getting enough chlorophyll in their diet. So as I've just said, chlorophyll is another key antioxidant. Not only, it boosts overall body health, but it is really key in boosting immunity. It's really, really important for cleansing, so it really helps the liver to do its job properly, and of course it's very nourishing as well. Now, according to to Linus Pauling Institute at the Oregon State University, I follow a lot of Linus Pauling's work. If you don't know, Dr. Linus Pauling is one of the founders of functional medicine in the States. He huge kind of following. His research is highly valued, I guess. He's done a lot of research into vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients, etc. And there's quite a lot of stuff on his site at the moment regarding chlorophyll. It's really interesting to read. A lot of studies that are looking at how chlorophyll really does help to prevent lipid and cholesterol oxidation. When we talk about circulatory health in a moment, you will know, you'll start to understand how important it is to have non-oxidized cholesterol and fats in the blood because of how they carry over into blocking arteries, etc. So chlorophyll, very good at keeping a good kind of healthy fat level in the blood. Also really key for phase 1 and phase 2 liver cleansing and metabolism. So again, for those of you new to this kind of nutritional information, in a nutshell, whenever our liver has to cleanse anything out of the body, it does so in 2 phases. Each phase, phase 1 and phase 2, requires certain enzymes, nutrients, so vitamins, minerals, but especially antioxidants and especially chlorophyll. Okay, so the green's so important in liver cleansing. And what they're finding now actually is that the processes that take place when the body's clearing out carcinogenic molecules, they're massively supported when there's high levels of chlorophyll there. So as in the whole process can take place better, these nasty, potentially carcinogenic molecules are getting processed properly and excreted out of the body. Without good levels of chlorophyll, this may not happen so effectively. I just want to share with you a little bit of a quote from the Linus Pauling Institute that's come up recently, just looking again at how important chlorophyll can be with regards to disease prevention, liver cleansing, and obviously liver efficiency for getting rid of some of these carcinogenics out the body. So he says, well, sorry, the university is putting studies out now to say that chlorophyll and chlorophyllin, which is actually the form of chlorophyll that's in the phytolife, we'll talk about in a second, are able to form tight molecular complexes with certain chemicals known or suspected to cause cancer, including polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons found in cigarettes, some heterocyclic amines found in cooked meats, and aflatoxin B1. So aflatoxin is basically a toxin that is generated by a fungus, and that can be found in things like peanuts, soybeans, and different legumes. And it's very, highly carcinogenic, basically. So it says the binding of chlorophyll or chlorophyllin to these potential carcinogens basically interferes with the absorption of these through the gut. So this can obviously reduce the amount of carcinogens that are reaching susceptible tissues within the body. So it's really positive news. So chlorophyll all the way for all sorts of disease prevention, liver support, and obviously protecting our DNA, boosting our immunity as well. So as part of the V3 system, we have the phytolife, which is our liquid chlorophyll. So the form is sodium copper chlorophyllin. And basically this is, obviously this is it. It's essentially you drink this in your water. And not only has it got all the benefits I've just mentioned, but one of the really key things about chlorophyll, and kind of anything green, to be honest with you, any of your green vegetables, are really alkalizing for the body. So what that means is they help to keep our pH balance more on the alkaline side as opposed to acidic. And this is incredibly important for health, because what we know about an alkalized state of our interstitial fluids, or the fluids that our cells sit in, if they are more alkaline, we know that bacteria, viruses, fungi, and even cancer cells, they can't really proliferate and grow too well in an alkaline environment, but they certainly grow a lot faster in an acidic environment. So anything that is based in acidity within the body, such as gout, kidney disease, certain arthritis, and of course most chronic diseases is kind of high acid based, then obviously chlorophyll is going to really play a big part in helping to kind of modulate the symptoms there, and in hopefully most cases helping to reverse the conditions. One other really key benefit of chlorophyll is it's a natural deodorizer, so deodorizing the entire kind of gastrointestinal tract, including the esophagus. So basically anyone that kind of experiences a little bit of bad breath or kind of like digestive upsets, the chlorophyll can be really powerful for helping with that too. Okay, so moving on to the circulatory system, one of my favorite systems to talk about. This and the liver, I could just go on forever. So basically, the three most important things for every human cell in the body are oxygen, obviously, water, and of course, nutrition. So all the nutrients that are coming in via antioxidants, essential fats, our energy coming from our macronutrients, and of course, vitamins and minerals. Now, these three things are only delivered by the blood. Okay, that is the only way, our blood is the only way that we can get these things out into the cells, to every cell in the body. So how good is your delivery system, basically? Okay, your cardiovascular system, or the system that delivers the blood and therefore the oxygen, the water, and the nutrients to your cells. So you've got your heart, your lungs, which obviously oxygenate the blood, and then obviously your blood vessels, your arteries, your capillaries, and your veins. So in a nutshell, the cardiovascular system is responsible for transporting our life force around the body, and that is obviously our blood. It carries our oxygen, our water, our nutrients to every cell, every tissue, every organ, every nerve, and this is sort of from the deepest core of our organs all the way to the hairs on our heads and the nails on our toes. So every inch of us relies so heavily on good circulation, okay? Because if we don't have good circulation, really bad things start to happen. So we have obviously the heart at the heart of this system. It is responsible for pumping oxygenated blood out into the cells. And of course, then the blood coming back through the veins is what I call dirty blood, and that's carrying waste products, various toxins and byproducts of hormones and metabolism away from the cells, taken through to various organs to be metabolized, such as the liver, the kidneys, and excreted. And so obviously our blood, our life force, it really needs to travel around the body without any stress, ideally without any blockages and without any interference. Now, when you think about the Western world and how many people are currently on things like heart medications, when we say heart medications, more correctly, we're really talking about vascular medications. We're talking about medications that really support this whole delivery system, this the circulatory system. There's not as many, well, there's a lot of people who are on medications specifically for their heart muscle, but generally people are on medications for actually the vascular system as opposed to the heart itself. And that's what's really key here to understand. If our circulation is compromised in any way, for any reason, we will inevitably fall ill, and of course in severe cases we'll face death. Okay, so an unhealthy circulatory system can cause premature cell death and decay in the extremities. So we kind of hear of people developing gangrene or bed sores and ulcers and these sorts of things. And that is usually because they've got just no blood supply getting to those areas, or very, very little blood supply. So those cells are being starved of nutrition, oxygen, water, etc. So you can imagine the telomere length of those DNA strands within those cells are just going really short, really quickly, and dying off very quickly. So this is kind of down to something called atherosclerosis, which we'll talk about shortly. Then, of course, in extreme cases, if our circulatory system is really compromised, we can then have things like full-blown heart attack and stroke. And that's obviously when blood is really blocked and severely restricted to heart muscle and the brain. So what can actually go wrong in the cardiovascular system, or more correctly, the circulatory system? So we're getting things like hardened arteries. Okay, so this is from free radical damage, which we've talked about extensively already, from the natural aging process. So arteriosclerosis is what this is called. A hardening of the arteries is something that does naturally happen with age. It is increased when we are stressed. And of course, if we have poor diet and exposure to a lot of environmental pollutants and toxins, we get a lot of atherosclerosis type symptoms. Narrowing of the arteries as well. So not only are arteries hardening, but they're also narrowing because we're getting this kind of buildup of fatty deposits and plaque on the inside walls of our arteries. Again, free radical damage is a big culprit here. Oxidized LDL cholesterol, so cholesterol that has been affected by free radicals, been oxidized, and this type of LDL cholesterol is very dangerous. It's the one that really kind of attracts a lot of the immune system, the macrophages, attracts a lot of the plaque and the other fats in there, and you just get this big fatty bulging plaquey mess that just starts to solidify on the inside of the artery walls, and that's a really unpretty situation to have. Of course, high stress can play a role, lack of good fats in the diet, and of course, lack of antioxidants, because we know that antioxidants will stop the oxidization of the LDL cholesterol. Oxidized LDL is also 100% destructive to endothelial cells on the inside wall of the arteries. So not only is it starting to block, it actually kills off the cells and just creates one big nasty mess in there. And I just want to point out that, if you're young and fit, listening to this and thinking, well, this stuff doesn't affect you, kind of think again, because to be honest with you, nobody listening to this, I can guarantee you, will have perfectly healthy, clear arteries. There'll be some arteries in your body that will start to kind of break down for whatever reason. It could be pollution, it could be stress, it could be, the poor diet that you've had up until now, or whatever. Nobody is really safe from this, to be honest. Some genetics play a role in creating this more quickly in people, but generally it happens as we age. So even if you're young now and you think it doesn't affect you, I would highly recommend that you start just thinking about your cardiovascular health now, because you will thank yourself for it in a few years' time. So obviously, what these things that are going on in the arteries are causing high blood pressure. Then, of course, we have things like just naturally viscous blood. Some people have lots of blood clotting issues. This can cause, obviously, full-on blockages. So the narrowing of the arteries, which we've already talked about, can affect blood quality as well. And obviously, if our blood is not getting through the arteries, if our pressure starts to raise, that puts a huge amount of stress on the actual heart muscle itself. And then, of course, when the heart muscle is stressed, it can then go into, obviously, cardiac arrest if it's stressed too much and is starved of oxygen. That's obviously what creates a heart attack. But then we can get things like congestive heart failure. So heart muscle is kind of damaged in such a way, or kind of malnourished in such a way, that it is then unable to, it just doesn't have the strength anymore, or the kind of the get up and the go to pump blood around the body effectively. So that obviously affects the heart itself, because the heart needs to have oxygenated blood pumped to it, but obviously affects the rest of the body, because the nutrients and all the oxygen and everything it should be getting out to the cells really effectively, it just isn't even touching the sides. So we've really got to kind of take that into consideration with heart health. So anything that goes wrong in the vascular system will ultimately lead to heart attack or stroke if left kind of unattended to. Hence where this amazing third product in the B3 system comes into play. So we're talking now about the L-Arginine product. This is a patent pending product because its formulation is so genius, thanks to Dr. Matt Tripp and his associates. So it is basically a product that is built around Nobel Prize winning attributes. So in 1998, a substance called nitric oxide was discovered, and its discovery won a Nobel Prize because it is completely and utterly life-changing for a lot of people, and it's industry-changing for obviously the health and wellness industry, the medical industry, because it's just so vital and so imperative to vascular health. So nitric oxide is a gas that is naturally produced in healthy endothelial cells. Now, I must stress that in healthy endothelial cells. Remember what happens when our arteries get hardened, or they start to get that kind of plaque build up? The endothelial cells, the cells that line the arteries or the insides, they're no longer healthy. They are no longer functional. So it's a real catch-22, because as our vascular system degenerates and becomes unwell through various other factors, free radical damage, poor diet, etc., its own ability to keep itself healthy then degenerates, because it can no longer naturally produce the nitric oxide very well, because the cells are obviously compromised. So, as I've said, this gas, which is normally produced in healthy endothelial cells, is the most significant molecule for the circulatory system and, of course, heart health. So, it was obviously a very world-changing discovery, as I say, considering that the #1 killer in the Western world for both men and women is heart disease and vascular disease. So let's have a look at some of the amazing attributes of nitric oxide, which has been deemed the miracle molecule. And basically, first and foremost, it's a vasodilator. Okay, so what that means, a vasovascular dilator, obviously enlarging. It helps to keep our vascular system really open, really flexible, really malleable, and obviously allows blood to flow more freely. If you've got a bigger space to get the blood through, then obviously there's less friction, there's less tension, and obviously blood gets through really easy. And obviously the organs and all the cells relying on that blood get their deliveries. Of course, it's also a what I would call a blood cleanser, so to speak. Because of its antioxidant properties, it really helps to clean up the inside of the arteries that have started to become quite plaquey, quite gunky. A lot of the oxidized LDL cholesterol can get kind of broken down, can get neutralized through this through the antioxidant properties of nitric oxide. And of course, it helps to prevent cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, becoming oxidized in the first place, which is a huge benefit, preventing further plaque layering. As I've already said, oxidized cholesterol is very dangerous and destructive for endothelial cells. So it will basically suffocate those cells, it'll kill them off. And nitric oxide also helps to keep blood really fluid and keeps it from becoming really viscous and thick, so kind of reducing the risk of clotting. So now naturally, the nitric oxide we produce in our body naturally from the endothelial cells has a relatively short lifespan. So what the product we're going to be talking about in a second, L-Arginine, we know that the lifespan or the activity of nitric oxide is significantly increased when we have L-Arginine and L-Citrulline in the body in good dose amounts. And so that's where the L-Arginine Plus product is just incredibly genius, because it has the L-Arginine and the L-Citrulline, those two amino acids in there, which play a huge role in the production of nitric oxide to begin with, but also the combination of those two aminos together means that the nitric oxide lifespan within the arteries within the body can last for up to 20 hours. And that's to do with the L-Arginine sort of converting later on into, L-Citrulline converting into L-Arginine later on, which extends the production of nitric oxide, which is mainly due down to L-Arginine. So in here, in this product, as well as the two aminos that produce the nitric oxide, we've also got essential vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, some B vits in there, K2, as well as some antioxidants. And we've got resveratrol in there, and some other red berry extracts. So it's really a comprehensive cardiovascular health product. Obviously, vitamin C is very cardioprotective, as is vitamin D. And the Bs are there really to support blood health, to support energy, to support immunity. K2 is very good at keeping blood healthy, controlling the clotting mechanisms there, and also stops calcification of arteries and arterial walls, which is, part and parcel of the hardening. So key attributes of L-Arginine, apart from just being amazing for the heart, it also contributes to normal functioning of the nervous system, the immune system as well, because of the essential vitamins in there. Obviously, this will contribute to reduced tiredness and fatigue, and normal muscle function as well. So I would certainly 100% without fail, anyone that I meet that has high blood pressure, high cholesterol, any high blood sugar levels, who's kind of sitting in that syndrome X or metabolic syndrome category, if they have atherosclerosis, anything that they've got circulatory issues, if they have gangrene, gout, anything like that, certainly recommend the V3 system for them, in particular explaining to them the benefits of the L-Arginine. Pretty much anyone and everyone will benefit from this product. Most people will be on sort of 1 to 2 sachets a day if they're relatively healthy. But if anyone has got those symptoms mentioned above, the high BP, the high cholesterol, etc., you really want to be kind of hitting the 3 or 4 sachets a day if they've really got some symptoms to alleviate. Of course, you would build that up as well over the course of a few weeks. Just to give our product a really good backing, this is so exciting for us in the nutraceutical world, because for so long the medical world have poo-hooed a lot of what the nutraceutical research is looking at and the products we're developing. But now in the States, and hopefully coming soon to the UK, things like the L-Arginine Plus are being recognized in the physician's desk reference. So this is the book that sits on the GP's desk, and they can refer to about various products, about various nutrients, etc. And what this book is in 2016, the latest version, is saying is that the L-Arginine Plus from Synergy, so exactly our product, is the highest quality L-Arginine supplement in the world that they've come across, basically, and obviously supporting its benefits for cardiovascular health. So if you're working with people who are active, who are athletes, who are really physically active into their exercise, L-Arginine Plus is incredibly beneficial for them as well. And of course, you can see how the other two products, the Mystify and the Phytolife, would be beneficial as well from a recovery and performance perspective. But basically, increased circulation, you'll get increased performance and recovery. The B vitamins and vitamin D will also support increased energy and increased hormone modulation as a result of the exercise. Vitamin C will support immunity, and often people who are exercising a lot have a lot of kind of a lowered immunity. Antioxidants from the Mystify obviously increase recovery and help to reduce DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. And of course, increased nitric oxide can increase the production of growth hormone within the body as well. Growth hormone is very important for repair and recovery after exercise. And as a bonus, people, it's also a brilliant fat burning hormone. So that gets a big whoop from me. So looking at the products altogether, the V3 products, the L-Arginine, the Phytolife, and the Mystify, they really do work synergistically. So you can take them individually, absolutely, but I would highly recommend, people really want to see good results and a good change in their system, a good alleviation from symptoms, then they really need to be doing the 3 together, and for 90 days at the very least. So in summary, the V3 system is a daily dietary necessity for anyone who has DNA, basically. Okay, so that is like everybody. The synergistic trio of Mystify and chlorophyll, which have the cleansing and alkalizing and immune boosting properties, and of course the L-Arginine, which is really important for oxygen delivery, nutrient delivery, and contains essential vitamins and antioxidants as well. These combined ensure the most important systems of the body are taken care of with a high level of efficacy. So that's just a reflection on the quality of the products. We know that these products absolutely 100% work. Why? Because they are manufactured by Nature's Sunshine. We know that Nature's Sunshine have a huge success in putting together the most quality, most efficacious, if that's the word, products that work, basically. Your products are only as good as the ingredients and the formulations, and we know that NSP has amazing quality when it comes to that. So Synergy, obviously, using the products manufactured by them, they're absolutely second to none. So I think that is it. Woohoo! All right, now I get time to go back through and have a look at some of the questions.